What's good? What's good? It's your boy Diesel back in here for another edition of Doja Thoughts. And I figured I'd weigh in on this Alex Meyers situation since this is one of the few people that I actually take my time out and watch. I find myself watching his channel pretty consistently. And I did watch his Obsession review. I didn't really think too much of it when I watched it, but as I scrubbed through the internet for the last couple of days, I've seemed to realize there's some type of situation going on as far as his commentary around Obsession. Now, I obviously, as I just said, didn't have the complete meltdown that the rest of the internet has seemed to be having. Well, I won't say the rest of the internet. It's obviously a certain type of people who are upset by his commentary, and they find something very very wrong with how he's dealt with this situation. These are the people who obviously build their channels and pretty much make a living off of quote unquote calling people out. And the Me Too culture, the cancel culture, these are the guys who feel like they have to weed out the snakes. So I figured, why not? I wanted to see what some of these conversations are. I got a little bit into one. I'm a little bit familiar with Papa Gut and his commentary and how he leans. So I kind of wanted to get a full picture of, what exactly is the commentary, what exactly people have a problem with in concerns with Alex Meyers' commentary. So, as I said, at first glance, I watched it one time. Apparently, he no longer has the review up, so it's not anything that I can pull back up right now for whatever reason. Well, for obvious reasons, he's taken them down. But I really think that we're encroaching on a situation that might be blown out of proportion. And as I said, it's the usual suspects. So I'm not really expecting too much gray area in this. They seem to feel a certain way about how things transpired in this movie, and we're going to see if this holds up. Let's get
I'll
into
talk
it,
more about
brother. We don't care
facing
about all that.
decade
Let's
because
get
of just
into it.
how creepy.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at when I watched his video. His video seemed like it was more of a response to the growing conversation around the movie, and it didn't necessarily seem like how some people are making it seem like, oh, he came out, this is a defense for Bear. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't really get that. That's not really what I got when I watched it. It just seemed like he was just kind of drawing clear lines in the sand that this is this isn't that. You guys might be taking this narrative a little bit too far. I don't necessarily see this situation as XYZ. It kind of seemed like he was putting his own interpretation on the conversation around the movie itself, and not necessarily his Bear's actions. But I guess he does touch a little bit into it, but I didn't necessarily get that he's this piece of shit for making this review. I just don't see it that way. But we'll
Review
continue.
itself, it'll be. I don't think it'll go that far. Like, I think this guy's career is steadily safe. I don't think his views will be impacted, especially because when you look at this guy's videos, they're all like very much centered towards.
he's very disingenuous about a lot of his reviews. Is he disingenuous, or is that like his thing where he just like is a little crazy about it?
Children who.
That's what I'm saying. That's the thing about certain type of people in a certain crowd who want to dig in. There's a certain type of people on the internet who want to always believe in and see the darkest in people. You know what I mean? They always want to believe that behind closed doors you're just secretly twiddling your fingers and, you know, doing your evil laugh and your evil hand rub behind closed doors. It's like some people are just human. Some people just look at things a little bit different, or they had a different upbringing to where they see things a little bit differently from the way you see things. The things that get you bothered and upset might not necessarily be the things that get them bothered and upset. But let's continue.
Like, don't really go over children's content. And like, again, that's okay.
That's kind of like his shtick, though. Like, he's one of those guys who kind of revisits our childhood movies from a different person. You know what I mean? From an older perspective. Or do these movies really hold up? Are these movies as good as I used to think? Or, you know, that's pretty much the theme that I get from his channel. But that's what one of the things that'll, you know, using wording like that, it'll make shit pretty dangerous when you just make it seem like he's a guy who just covers kids movies. It's like, I don't know if that's really what he does. Like it tries to, you know, the certain side of the internet will throw little tidbits in there or out of context things into a conversation, and it only serves to confuse people with wording like that. You know, you're dealing with a crowd or an angry mob who already thinks this guy is weird because of his review, but you throw in these little tidbits, these little weird tidbits that, again, people who are just waiting to run off with, you know, this information, you throwing that stuff in there, it only serves to make people want to dig and believe that there's another layer to this weird video, quote unquote. And, you know, they do these things to make it seem like there's something behind all of this. They make it seem like there's a paper trail or something going on beneath the surface, and it's just not. I think we're dragging this along a little bit much.
Like, that's the point. Okay, fair enough.
I'm surprised this guy even made an obsession video to begin with. And you got this video here, Ralph breaks the internet. You got Bridgerton, young Sherlock.
Was that what the fuck? Why don't we talk about Wreck-It Ralph anymore? Why does Vanellope look like she's on something?
Fuck, you got Wreck-It Ralph again, Zootopia. Again, all children's movies. Some of them are great films, but
I never watched Hoppers. We'll watch it soon.
These are children's films. Obsession, it's like when you only cover children's films and that's sort of the extent of your analysis, then covering a movie as, you know, as nuanced as Obsession, in my opinion.
Is Obsession that nuanced? Like, it's a great movie. Is it that nuanced? I don't know if it's that nuanced. It was good. It's
a movie that these guys get to point and say, look, the everyday common guy under the surface is a fucking weirdo, and given the chance, this is what a man will do to you. That's what a lot of this shit is about. Come on, guys. Let's stop it. A lot of this shit is about the underlying, these guys want there to be this underlying theme and this speaking to a higher level of knowing that this is how men function and this is how men really act and this is how men really think, and given the chance, this is what they'll do to you. Come on. They're playing this up a little bit. They're really playing into this, and this is one of those movies that the liberals are really just picking apart. I don't know. It really gets these guys. Some of these people really just have like this fetish, this trauma fetish, and I think it scratches that itch for a lot of them. I think this scratches that trauma itch for a lot of people, and you know, it's weird, but hey, it is what it is, I guess. Let's continue.
It's a great movie. I liked it, but
never really going to go down too well. And if it does go down too well, you're really going to have to sort of show up.
I would say one of my favorite parts about Obsession that like it wasn't trying too hard. You know, nowadays, listen, everything's been done. Even Star Wars is a copy of like some other movie, The Hidden Fortress or something, samurai shit, Flash Gordon. You know what I mean? Like nothing is new. Everything's been redone. But I liked it about it. It kind of knew what it was. Like, hey, we're gonna do another movie about a wish going wrong. I mean, that's the typical genius. I think that's great. But they did it really well. They said, we're going to take a very simple concept and we're going to make a nice story. And the story was great. I really liked Obsession a lot. I thought it was fantastic. You know, I thought it was great. But like everything's pretty much presented pretty well to you throughout.
Yeah, it was, for me, it was very much face value. I mean, everything was pretty contained. It wasn't this grandiose magic demons and all. No, it was just pretty simple, and it was vague enough that it made you wonder. It was detailed enough that it let you understand what was going on. And I think it put these two characters in a situation that, you know, it's just like, what do you actually do? What do you actually do with information like this? You know what I'm saying? Prison! Yeah, we got a person who's gonna, you know, he's gonna give
Infamous Lily Orchard Steven Universe review, the now taken down Mabel is Terrible video by CC West, and the egregious review of Fairly Odd Parents and New Wish by ASK Air, which I actually covered on my channel. Now we can add a new person to this list because over the last couple of days, popular YouTuber Alex Meyers has been called out nonstop over his review of the movie Obsession. Funny enough, I actually really liked the movie Obsession. It was one of my favorite films that came out this year. I actually liked it so much to the point that I was thinking about making a video essay about the main character Bear. And, you know, I don't even really cover live action movies or shows on this channel, so that tells you how much I was a fan of it. But putting how much I like this movie to the side, Alex had one of the most egregious interpretations of the main character Bear, as well as the character Nikki and the entire themes of the movie. Because what he would essentially upload was a 20+ minute video downplaying the actions of the villain, while also mocking people who might be triggered by some of the events that happened in the movie. So let's dive into this review to see.
Yeah, I don't think that's what he was doing. I think, again, like, it seemed like he was adding his interpretation to the conversation around the movie. However, I didn't necessarily at face value just get, like, you know, my red flag tipped off, like, oh god, this nigga is just, he's saying something egregious. It's just like, I didn't really pick
just what he said and what's so bad about it. But quick rundown, just in case you haven't seen Obsession. Basically, the plot of the movie is it revolves around a character named Bear. He is in love with this character named Nikki, who is supposed to be his friend, but he's too scared to ask her out. So he goes to a convenience store and he finds this little item called a one-wish willow. Bear uses the willow to wish that Nikki would love him more than anybody else in the entire world, not knowing that the wish would actually work. But what we find out through the course of the movie is that the wish isn't all fine and dandy because it actually possesses Nikki's body with some supernatural entity. And that entity is controlling Nikki's body, making her do things that she doesn't want to do, while the real Nikki is suffering on the inside. Now, with that context, you understand that everything that Nikki does in the movie after Bear makes the wish is against her will. She can't consent to it. She's essentially Bear's slave. So now that you have that context, remember that going forward in this video when Alex says some of the things that he says.
Warning, this video is an attempt at a good faith, nuanced look at the fictional movie Obsession and the characters therein, which will probably upset some of you for some reason.
Wow, this intro is actually really ironic in hindsight.
Yeah, because there's a crowd of people like this guy who you're gonna find a problem with anything. You're gonna find something weird. You're always gonna question, oh, well, what did he mean by that? Or what does that really mean? Or what is it? You know, you motherfucking internet detectives is always going to be digging for some shit. But let's see.
Pina colada.
A pina colada?
Don't make fun of my drink. What?
I like a man who's in touch with his feminine.
Hey, whoa, didn't ask your opinion, Nikki. So here we get a look at who Nikki is. And she seems like she's kind of one of those girls who's like those like ball buster types, you know? She's always like, ha, bitch can't handle all this. I've never met a guy who can keep up with me. And then they just lay there like SpongeBob.
So this is something that you're going to see constantly throughout this review, if you can call it that. Alex is obsessed with sexualizing the character of Nikki, but not just Nikki.
Obsessed.
Also other female characters within the movie. For some reason, despite the fact that he draws Ian and Bear, the two male characters in the film, like this, you know, kind of like just bland cartoon characters, he draws Sarah and Nikki very sexualized.
This is how he usually does all his videos, and that's not necessarily always the case. But again, I don't like when the liberals all try to come out. First of all, you can tell a lot of these guys maybe did a one-time scrub of his channel, maybe a couple of videos, and they don't really know what they're talking about. So now they're going to come and start, you know, doing a whole entire dissertation on somebody we've been subscribed to for months, maybe years in some cases, and you know, they're going to try to tell us and psychoanalyze what's going on here and what we've been being fed. And it's just like, I think again, this is where things start to get blown out of proportion, when people who don't are not the ones who, you know, have their ears to the streets, really pay attention to things, when they want to have an opinion about something. You see me, I don't get on here and talk too many things, okay? I don't get on here and talk too many things unless I'm sure about it, unless I have the information to speak in a fashion that will be, if not informative, at least entertaining enough for me to give my opinion. So whether that be music or anything, I'm going to do my due diligence to do the research at very least. I'm going to listen to the album. I'm going to read the book. I'm going to read the article. I'm going to read the court statements. I'm going to read or do whatever it is it takes for me to have the full context and knowledge before I open my mouth and speak. And so many times you'll see with this certain side is that these people refuse to do the work. They refuse to do the research. They disqualify what comes out of your mouth, and then they want to judge your motives and things like that afterwards, which just doesn't make any sense. And I really think we need to be aware and careful of these people. And, you know, when they hold certain power or certain positions of power, we have to be aware of their ways of just what's the word? They're very finicky, you know. Their feelings very much dictate how they move, and if they feel slighted, if they feel something is off, then, you know, you got to be aware. You got to be careful of that, because now you got a bunch of people like these guys making these videos saying, oh, this guy, there's something wrong with him. He made his review, and it wasn't completely 100% condemning Bear and calling him a nasty, disgusting, and this, that, the. I mean, yeah, past the half of the movie, you can say that. When I watched the movie, I said, whoa, this shit is fucked up. Yeah, this is weird, or whatever. I watched the movie, I put it down, I kept on about my day. So many people want to break this down and cycle it. Oh my God, look how deep and the male psychosis and this is how these guys really, and it's like, it was a movie. It was a movie. You have those people who everything has to be super deep, and, you know, I used to be like that. I used to be like, oh my God, everything is super deep, and if you really think about it and really break it down and I get it. I get it. Okay. But at the same time, it gets to the point where it goes from that conversation into trying to find one person who remotely defends this shit so we can just let them have it. All the anger and pent-up aggression that we've been feeling towards Bear, we can now let Alex Meyers take the full force of this aggression, this resentment that these people have against this character, this fictional character. Again, this is why actually doing the research and seeing the kind of channel that the guy makes and the kind of jokes that he regularly cracks, it's kind of
He,
important.
like, throughout the entire video, he just refers to her as like a sexy Latina or a hot Latina.
But then again, Nikki is a hot Latina, so one can only remain strong for so long.
Which, like, okay, we get it. The actress is attractive, but it's kind of getting weird, bro. It's getting to a point like you just keep saying it over and over again.
I mean, shit,
I didn't pick up on
it's the
that.
job, Nikki.
Yeah, well, I want to write.
Oh, a crystal mommy and a writer. Well, something tells me this movie would have gone the same way for Bear, whether he made the wish or not.
So this is the other thing that you'll notice throughout his entire review. There's so many moments of these like high-key sexist jokes where he's like, oh, Nikki's this feisty Latina. She likes crystals. She wants to be a writer. Something tells me that she would have been this obsessed crazy girl regardless of if this film was written by somebody else or not. Like, what? Some people might say, oh, it's just a joke, but like,
This is what's getting your panties in a bunch. I mean, I barely even got the joke, but it's just like we're getting to the point where these videos after videos we're just looking for shit to dig about.
what's the joke? That women are crazy? And that's low-key a crazy joke to make in a film about a girl who literally gets enslaved by a dude.
Why?
My dad's dying.
And, you know, to Bear's credit, he's not immediately jumping at the chance to take advantage of her or whatever. Like, he gives her privacy and space. He doesn't want to make it weird. He turns around when she takes her shirt off. And, like, based on what people were saying about this movie online, I expected Bear to be this, like, horribly angry, misogynistic incel dude, right? But, like, up until this point, he's just some super socially awkward loser who has a crush on a girl, and he uses a $7 wishing toy that he assumes is not going to work. And then when Nikki starts acting like this, he's very confused and put off by it.
Okay, so this is the part in the video where it just hits the point where it's like, dude, what are you even talking about? Like, did you actually sit down and watch the film?
Well, he said at that point of the film, that's what he was thinking. And at that point of the film, especially if you're going in and people are telling you that this guy is supposed to be this crazy, horrible fucking monster, and you know, you're hearing all of these things, and you get into the movie and you're watching the movie, and it's just like, oh, well, this guy's just he's like a fucking weirdo. It's like a little fucking incel dude, like harmless little, you know. Yeah, I thought he was gonna be this big misogynistic crazy fuck, the way that you guys were talking about him, and perhaps that's how he should have said it. But you know, again, this is how you take things out of context and dig at nothing.
For one, saying to Bear's credit he didn't immediately jump on Nikki is just crazy. Like, that's just a crazy statement altogether. And also, he's lying, because Bear actually would have slept with Nikki that night if it wasn't for the fact that Nikki started freaking out. Bear was not immediately put off by the way that Nikki was acting, even though Nikki was already acting crazy before she got to Bear's bed. It's just kind of crazy how Alex just completely leaves out this scene.
What the fuck? Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
You kissed me.
I know, I thought I saw something.
It's just kind of crazy.
That's a very human response. I don't like people like this who make it seem like being human is, you know, unnatural. It's certain responses. You're supposed to have a cookie cutter, preloaded response to these things, and you're supposed to react a certain way, and if you don't react that exact way, then there has to be something wrong with you. It's like, no. Some people in that situation where you're with a girl, and I don't see how a black man is saying this, and you know, and saying all of these things. He looks like the kind of black guy who doesn't really mingle with white women. You know, I am. So being cautious and going in as somebody who, you know, you gotta be prepared for the worst, if anything. But you know, as a guy who deals with women, you know that if you're in a certain situation, and obviously you're not in a situation where a girl asks you to come to your crib. Like let's set the stage, because he's leaving out context too. The girl asked him and basically forced him to come back home with him. So he's already like, all right, fuck it. Like, she's fucked up. She's not herself right now. She's feeling a little emotionally, whatever. Okay, cool. But then we get to the part where they are trying to hook up, and it's like, all right, naturally, things can progress that way. Just because we don't know at the time, where I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, well, he doesn't know that she might be like under some type of spell or something like that, you know, when I'm first watching it. But he doesn't immediately just try to take advantage of her. But I guess I say all of that to say, like, as he knows that it's kind of weird that she's acting this way, and it could be out of whatever she said. What she said, it might have been some drugs. She said it might be because her father is, you know, passing away. She's feeling some type of way, whatever the case may be. A lot of you niggas, if your dreams start unfolding right in front of your fucking face, a lot of you niggas wouldn't be able to control yourselves. Okay? So to act like everybody's gonna be this stoic, oh no, I can't possibly, no. Like, what the fuck are you niggas talking about? And it's motherfuckers, more so than Alex Meyers, it's niggas who make these videos and start acting like it's no possibility that you could react this way. These are the niggas that I start to question, and I start looking at you guys a little bit. Yeah, no, at that point you can tell that he thinks maybe the gears might be turning, but he doesn't actually know 100%. That's not a confirmation. So, and at the same time, it's still like some little pipe dream. It's still some fucking, like, all right, yeah, I might just be tripping, but you know. So, and at the end of the day as well, he's looking for answers as to why she's acting the way she's acting. A lot of people, they like to act as if real life goes, it just plays out how you pictured it in your head, and that's almost never the case. So to act like if a lot of these guys were, it doesn't even have to be this situation, or if you are in any situation where you felt like you've gotten consent from a woman to do whatever it is you guys are doing. Maybe you guys a little PDA, and maybe you're kissing each other, and she kind of starts freaking out because you might be, I don't know, taking things a little bit further or pushing the limit to see where things will go. Some guys are gonna react or be like, oh well shit, my bad, I didn't know, like I thought we were good. Like, I thought it was okay. Like, that's some people's first reaction. Some people are going to react and be like, oh, are you all right? Is everything okay? Or is everything cool? That's going to be another group of people's reaction. Some people's reaction is going to be like, oh, hey, bitch, you kissed me. Like, the fuck? You told me we were good. You came on to me. You were giving me googly eye. Like, that's going to be another crowd of people's reaction. That doesn't inherently make any of them wrong. That doesn't inherently make any of those people a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a little stupid that if we just hop to that conclusion. I think that's a little dumb.
Natural going on with Nikki.
Just pretend like we're laugh. Yeah. I think Nikki is going through something. What? I don't know, dude. She was acting so weird. Like she would like what? Is she okay? No.
Now, I've seen a lot of people saying that this part is showing how Bear's trying to make Nikki seem crazy to other people or whatever. But, like, again, he has no way of knowing that the toy worked. Like, why would you think it did? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was $7.
Once again, the reason why people say that in this scene, Barry is trying to make Nikki look crazy is because he lies to Ian about what actually happened on the ride home. He conveniently leaves out the fact that he used the One Wish Willow, and he conveniently leaves out the fact that the very next day after Nikki was acting crazy and all that, he goes to the computer to check to see if the Willows actually work. He never mentions any of that to Ian. That is why people say in this scene, Bear is just trying to make Nikki look crazy, because he leaves out all this information that would explain why she would actually be acting crazy. Bear also lies about the fact that he slept with Nikki in the bed, and that goes back to the point I was making earlier when Nikki freaked out and jumped back and Bear immediately jumped to, oh, you kissed me. It's because Bear doesn't want to be perceived as a predator. But if Bear himself believed that he was doing nothing wrong, the same way that Alex is trying to present it to his viewers or whoever's watching the video, why would Bear have to lie about that fact?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that.
Not saying what?
You took advantage of me.
I don't think I didn't.
I know. That's why I'm saying you didn't.
Okay, see, this is my point. Like, given the circumstances, Bear's being pretty normal about this, okay? Given what he does and does not know by this point in the movie, like, he could have slept with her, or he could have taken some kind of advantage of her, but he was rather gentlemanly at the time.
Man, lock him up for this image alone. What even was the motivation behind this? I've seen people actually try to defend this part in the video, and people saying that, you know, people are taking Alex out of context. He's not saying that Bear's a good guy because he didn't take advantage of Nikki. He's saying that he expected from all the online commentary that Bear was this comically evil guy that was doing horrific things.
Yeah, that's basically what I was getting from. That's basically what I was picking up. I said that at the beginning of the video. That's basically what I'm picking up
to
on.
Nikki, and that's really wasn't what he was seeing in the movie. The problem is, if you actually watch the movie, this point here is really dumb, because there is a scene where Bear quite literally takes advantage of Nikki the way Alex is talking about, saying that it didn't happen. But we'll get to that a little later.
But he's talking about at that point of the movie. So what's the point of jumping around when he's saying at this point of the movie? I'm looking at it like this. At this point of the movie, I don't see where this conversation is coming from. At this point of the movie, it seems pretty much like this guy isn't fully aware of what's going on. So where some people are making the point that he is a piece of shit already from the point of, I guess, making the wish, or bringing her, inviting her back home, or saying how this guy says, well, he didn't say, are you all right? He said, oh, you kissed me. So where so many of you people are finding issue before the point where he even really figures out what's going on, that's what this guy is responding to. It's I don't like disingenuous people. I don't like it. I don't like disingenuous people. I don't like disingenuous conversation. And this very much is a disingenuous point right here, because I mean, he's very much talking about a point of the movie before this guy is fully aware of what's going on. So now this thing is about to do call. It's Hispanic people. You guys should feel offended. Do any of you guys feel offended? Hispanics, you guys get on this too. Come on.
Every time he says Crystal Mommy Latina, I don't know, bro.
But here's where Bear starts to maybe kind of realize what's really going on here.
Bear, I love you so much. I don't think I could live without you.
You love me more than anyone in the world?
Yes, more than anyone.
Okay, up to this point, I feel like Bear has plausible deniability. I mean, there's no way he would have known the cheap toy would work. He was genuinely concerned for Nikki the day after it started, and he refused to take advantage of her even when it was, like, presented to him, right? I mean, she kissed him after all, right? Now, right here, though, at the halfway point of the movie, he does finally start to realize that the wish actually worked. But, like, even then, like, literally every rom-com is about trying to find a way to get the other person to like you, or you manufacture a meet cute or whatever, right? Like, I've seen some internet comment threads where it's like, he only saw her as an object and wanted to remove her autonomy. That's why he made that wish. But like he didn't wish that she would do whatever he wanted, or I wish that she would become obsessed with me and me only. He specifically wished that Nikki would love him more than anyone, which is literally what everyone who has ever had a crush wants.
Alex Meyers is a moron. Like,
he didn't even sleep with her in the bed that night. He slept on the floor and let her sleep on the bed. This guy is lying. This nigga is lying.
Conversation, and when he actually started picking up on the fact that the One Wish Willow might have actually worked, right? But this part in particular is what makes him a moron, because he's talking about people online are saying that, you know, Bear just saw Nikki as an object for his pleasure. He conveniently leaves out the most important part, the most important context in the dinner scene out of his video, because the dinner scene is without a doubt the scene where the audience is supposed to understand that Bear 100% understands that the wish worked and that Nikki is under the control of the wish. In this scene, Bear finds out that Nikki had been lying about her dad having cancer, and when he confronts her, Nikki, being controlled by the wish, basically goes, well, why does it even matter? And Bear looks at her, he kind of thinks about it for a second, he thinks about the fact that she's being controlled by the wish, and he responds with, It doesn't matter at all. And then the scene cuts to Bear sleeping with Nikki, but while he's sleeping with her, the being controlling Nikki is making her say like all the things a guy would want to hear during sex, but while you're looking at her face, she's just completely dead, like the body is lifeless. That is the scene where you're supposed to understand that Bear is 100% cool with her being under the control of the Wish as long as he is getting what he wants. But what makes Alex a
That doesn't necessarily mean he just wants sex. That doesn't necessarily mean that. I like how these guys selectively leave things out too, because before all of this, what leads up to this is them having a genuinely good time. Them having a genuine relationship. And I don't know about you guys, but I've seen guys who are only concerned about sex. They're not concerned about watching movies with each other and cuddling and going out and on picnics and all that shit. Them niggas are gonna go out and do what they need to do for the day. They're gonna come back, bend you over, go to sleep, maybe hop on the game, smoke a blunt, something like that, and live their life. They don't give too much worried. Maybe the only thing they'll be worried about you doing is maybe having something ready to cook or something ready to eat. Maybe a couple of dollars for them. Okay. We're just taking things out. I don't like how you motherfuckers leave shit out of context too, and it's perfectly reasonable to be like, whoa, why do people think he just wants her to be an object? Yes, they had sex after that. I think it would be implied that they had sex through the entire montage of them having this relationship. So I don't think the sex just came at this point of, oh yeah, well, I realize that she's not in there now, so now I'm just gonna. No, I take that as him just trying to bury those feelings and bury, what he knows in the experience and try to immerse himself back into that experience that they had for those past couple of days, where they seemed like they were genuinely in love, dating, and things like that. So, I don't like pussy ass niggas like this, and this guy's a pussy ass nigga. It's officially determined.
Complete moron is not only the fact that he just leaves all of this context out of this scene, out of his video, and just like defends Bear, being like, oh, well, Bear wasn't that bad. But then he goes on like this huge tangent about how everybody online is making it seem like Bear's such a bad person, but so many other girls. And he specifically targets girls in his video, being like, oh, well, girls would wish for the exact same thing if they were in this situation.
Like every single.
Yeah, because you're not wishing for obsession. He just wished for love. He just wished that the bitch loved him, okay? That he loved them more than anybody else. Now, did he know exactly what that would look like? No. I think reasonably this is it's a pretty based point. I don't think zeroing in on girls, I don't think that necessarily had anything to do with it. But if you said that most people wished that their crush loved them more than anybody else, so that they can run off in the sunset, have kids, a beautiful life, and marriage, yes, I think most people would wish for their crush to love them. I think most people would wish for that. That's not a crazy thing to say.
Single fanfic about like, golly gee, I sure wish One Direction would kidnap me and fall in love with me all at the same time. Like as if half the girls who saw this movie haven't wished the exact same thing before. Hello, it is I, Willem Dafoe, from the movie The Lighthouse, and I've secretly been in love with you for years. Like, you have to look at the context, okay? If Bear had gone to the store specifically and been like, hey, do you have something that'll force a girl to fall in love with me? Or if he, like, searched on the internet for some kind of, like, weird ritual that's gonna make anyone fall in love with you, then yeah, that's some funky stuff. Like, it really seems like some of you want him to be a horrible, incel, intentionally malicious guy, regardless of what actually happens in the movie. Even the guy who played Bear himself said this about the character. I never thought of Bear as a villain, but what really drew me to this story was the gray morals of it all. Bear has good in him and has bad in him, like all of us. I do think that he leans more toward the bad in a lot of ways. Fully the antagonist, though? I don't think I would say fully, because the key thing is he didn't know that the wish was going to work. Sure, his desires were incredibly selfish, totally, 100%, but he didn't know the wish was going to work. And you have to assume that this guy was in close talks with the writer, director of the movie the whole time, so basically both of them are saying that Bear is meant to be ambiguous, and you all are just over here like, nyeh.
I really do wonder how long it took Alex to make this video, because it took me about 30 seconds to find this video of the actor of Bear.
Yeah. And I want to just like take this moment to say like Bear's the villain. Okay. Like Bear, there's some grabby headlines out there where it's like Michael Johnston doesn't agree that Bear's the villain. I'm like, no way. Like, hold on a second. Bear is the villain. Like,
Come on, man. Come on, man. Bear is the villain. Come on, nigga. They got on your ass. They seen your statements. They started getting on your ass. I never thought of Bear as a villain, but what really drew me to this story was the gray morals of it all. He literally says it here. So you're not going to then use this the way, wait, did you see that he says this?
Like, hold on a second. Bear is the villain. Like he made his choice. Maybe he didn't know the Willow would work, but the choices that he made after that.
Yeah, after that, which is also what he was putting context in, but you can tell clearly that and this is the thing about Hollywood. Y'all expect this? Y'all expect a nigga whose movie just went nuclear to be like, oh no, Bear's not the villain. Look what y'all are doing to anybody who thinks even remotely, oh no, I don't think that this is necessarily a situation that's black and white. Look what y'all are doing to people. Y'all expected him to come. No, he's about to make his fucking money. He's not about to go against the grain, even though he already has. He's already told you what he truly thinks. But y'all expect him to come up in an interview and be like, nah, Bear, not the villain? For what? I don't think so. You expect him to stand on that? This is Hollywood. He just broke to the big times now. He's with the big dogs now, okay? He's nuclear now. They didn't expect this to happen. So he is protecting his brand now. We're not going to see people like this. They think you're stupid. They think we're stupid. They think that we don't know what it looks like when a nigga is protecting his brand. He already came out and made a statement and said what he thought. So him coming back and spinning the block, and it's not even convincing. This was you played this clip and it's not even convincing that he really thinks this. What's clear to me with watching this clip is that he made that statement. He's seen the backlash, because I'm sure he got his own bit of backlash from this statement, and he quickly pivoted. He quickly backed off that shit. He quickly corrected course. Okay? Because that ain't smartly so, rightfully so. That's not the path to go down. If you want to make this money, it'll be Snow White all over again. And what's the girl's name? It'll be Snow White all over again. So, unless we want another Disney Snow White, you can't have the guy coming out saying that he doesn't think Bear was the villain when these niggas are doing whole 2-hour deep dives every week about this shit since it dropped. I mean, we got people talking about they seen it 10 times and all kind of crazy. I watched the movie. It was a great movie. I put it the fuck down and kept moving. These motherfuckers here, when they're this rabid about something, you got to just stay away from them. I'm telling you. When they're this obsessed about something being good, you got to realize that these are the people who take things and ruin it. Okay? These are people who take things and psychoanalyze it to the point of non-recognition, and they ruin it. Okay? Because they are afraid of telling story. Just think about the people who are upset about this shit. They would never tell a story like this. They would never have the balls to tell a story like this. It would be so politically correct. It would be walking on so many eggshells. We got to be honest about what we're witnessing here. Okay?
He clearly showed that he just was incapable of thinking about anyone other than himself.
It's just so odd to me how anyone with basic media literacy would be able to look at Bear's actions throughout the film and understand why so many people are mad about him, why so many people would be able to, relate to the crimes that he does, and why.
Yeah, I definitely see. Now, I don't want it to come off like I don't understand why people are upset or don't like the character or see him as a villain. But specifically in this situation, talking with Alex Meyers, if somebody comes to the conclusions that he comes to, I don't think it's that big of a fucking deal. I just don't see the big
Why
deal.
they would be able to, you know, hold some type of content towards his character. But here you have this guy whose entire platform is built off of analyzing media, or, you know, I guess his version of analyzing media. And he's sitting up here wanting to die on the hill that, you know, he's really not as bad as you guys think he is.
Like, are you all equally upset about the Disney Channel original movie Zapped or 16 Wishes? Because fundamentally, these are all the same movie. Like, remember Descendants 1, Mal cast a spell that made Ben fall in love with her? Where's all the Reddit threads about that? I don't see no 2-hour video essays. You know, I made a video years ago about the show WandaVision, and everyone got so mad at me when I said it's crazy that we're supposed to be so understanding about how Wanda enslaves an entire town and uses magic to force her husband to stay with her and have kids with her. Huh, isn't that interesting?
This guy's actually comparing Obsession to Disney Channel movies as if they tackled the same themes. Are we so
No. We're not gonna do that, buddy. We're not gonna do that, buddy. Bring that ass back here. Bring that ass back here, buddy. We're not gonna do that, okay? Because that is 100% right. Sorry. If you're gonna look at, you're not gonna give it the disqualifier of, oh, well, it's just a Disney movie and it didn't go that deep into the theme. The fucking people were trapped in a town doing and saying things that they didn't want to do and say, dressing in ways that they didn't want to dress, hadn't seen their kids, didn't know where their family were, all type of shit. Come on, let's stop it. What's his? Let's see what his defense is.
so serious right now? Mind you, even in all of the movies that he listed, the actions are still portrayed as bad. Wanda doing what she did in WandaVision is very much portrayed as bad. Like, they literally had the U.S. government outside of the town that she was controlling, trying to stop her. I was never the biggest Descendants fan, but wasn't Mal a literal villain when she was doing the stuff that she was doing? I've never seen Zapped, but I was actually a big fan of 16 Wishes as a kid, and I remember the girl in the movie, she had to learn a lesson about the wishes she was making, and she came to regret what she did. Thing that Bear never really does in the movie Obsession.
And what we come to find out is that the real Nikki is trapped inside of this demon Nikki. And every so often she gets to come out for just like a brief second, which is why Nikki seems to be acting the way she does. It's like the more the real Nikki tries to break free, the more the demon has to overcorrect.
I just noticed when he was telling what was going on with Nikki, he added in the scene from the first night where Nikki was kissing Bear on the bed. That's just so interesting, considering the fact that he conveniently left that out when he was talking about how Bear was being such a nice gentleman who didn't want to touch Nikki on the first night and didn't want to do anything to her while she was acting crazy. That's really interesting.
Once Bear realizes that this happened because of the wish, he finds a phone number on the back of the box and he calls it to try and get his wish changed.
Is her love real?
Just because you chose this for her doesn't make it less real.
Okay, then I would like to cancel.
We don't really do that.
But here comes Alex once again lying about what happens in the film and lying about Bear's actions and intents. We've already established Bear knew that Nikki was under the control of the spell ever since the middle of the movie when they were at the dinner scene. The reason why Bear ended up calling the hotline was not because he was trying to, you know, free Nikki from the wish or anything like that. It was because Nikki had gotten to the point where she was acting completely crazy. She had cooked up Bear's dead cat. She had duct taped his door shut so that he wouldn't leave the house. She was doing stuff like standing in the corner and watching him in his sleep. It got to a point where Bear was starting to feel uncomfortable because Nikki was becoming more and more obsessed, so he called the hotline. Also, Alex conveniently puts in the scene where Bear is saying, well, I would like to cancel my wish, but just conveniently leaves out that that's actually the second thing that Bear tries to do, because the first thing that he tries to do is just to alter the wish. He still wanted to keep Nikki under the control of the wish. He just wanted her to be less extreme and less obsessive.
Oh, okay. I was calling to see if there's a way I can alter a wish.
You'd like to cancel your wish?
No. It's okay to keep the. I just want to know if I can like alter it a little.
Now, just to be clear, I'm not defending all of Bear's actions, okay? Because at this point in the movie, he knows the wish worked, and he knows the real Nikki's soul is like trapped or whatever, but he keeps on dating her and tries to like continue on as if this isn't the most horrible situation anyone could imagine. Although, to be fair, what is he supposed to do? Because if he breaks up with her, she's going to hunt him down. And the only other choice, as we learn, is that the spell will break if he dies.
This is an argument that I've heard from people who think like Alex Meyers, and it's truly one of the dumbest arguments to come out of this film. Oh, what is Bear Bear's supposed to do argument is so stupid because Bear quite literally does not do anything throughout the entire film. Like I said, the only reason why he called the one
No, what is he supposed to do? I'm waiting to
Wish
hear.
Willow hotline is because Nikki started getting more crazy and more crazy. And then even after finding out that he couldn't cancel the wish, he just doesn't try to do anything after the fact. Mind you, around the end of the movie, Bear actually goes to look for a second One Wish Willow to try to cancel out his first wish. Why didn't he try that earlier? Oh, it's because Bear actually liked the fact that Nikki was under the wish. He didn't have a problem with it until it started inconveniencing him. Even when he goes to find the second One Wish Willow to try to cancel out his original wish, the reason he went to go get the second Willow wasn't because the real Nikki was suffering on the inside or because, you know, he wanted to free her. It was because crazy Nikki had gotten crazy to the point where she had killed Sarah. And Bear was like, oh no, I finally have to break her out. She's going too crazy now. Every single aspect of the movie showed that Bear did not care about Nikki. He didn't care that he was controlling her. He didn't care that she was suffering and while she was being possessed by a demon or anything like that. The only thing he cared about was the fact that he was controlling Nikki. And when it got to a point where he couldn't control her anymore, that's when he started doing things to try to end the wish.
But this also brings up another interesting thematic element of the movie, I guess, which is like people are saying, you know, if he truly loved Nikki, then he would do this incredibly selfless thing for her. But remember, his wish was not that Nikki would become obsessed with him. He wished that she would love him. So why isn't her love for him as selfless as you're claiming that his love for her should be? You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm not saying Nikki's the bad guy or Bear is some like blameless victim or whatever. I'm just saying there's many ways you could look at this movie. Like maybe the wish didn't work at all. Maybe Bear's just that cool. You ever thought of that?
No, he's not a moron, bro. I can't believe he's this much of a moron. Like, he's got to be rage baiting me. This dude watched an entire movie where Bear...
So we don't know what a joke is?
That he sleeps with her. He continues to keep her under the wish, even after finding out that the real Nikki is suffering inside her body because of the wish. One of Alex's interpretations of the movie is, well, maybe the wish didn't even work. Maybe Bear's just so cool that, you know, this is somehow Nikki's fault. Do you see why people had a problem with this video? Do you see why, when it comes to serious topics, people did not like the way that he discussed this film? And one thing I've seen a lot of...
Well, he's not a fucking... What do you mean when it comes to serious topics? Like, why would you go to Alex Meyers' channel for a serious topics discussion? He's not even a serious fucking guy. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? It's this onus that these guys... Everybody doesn't live at you guys' standards and with your morals and how you think the world should move and function. You guys just have to get over it and understand that. Some people are going to live their lives saying the things that they want to say, thinking the way they want to think, and behaving the way they want to behave. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can think that people should behave a certain way all you want. The reality is, that's just not the case. And the reality is, most of those people we gotta live with. Because most of those people aren't bad people. These things don't make you a bad person, or an idiot, or a moron, or whatever. It doesn't inherently just make you an idiot by doing these things.
People trying to defend Alex say it's like, oh, bro, it's just a movie. Like, why are y'all getting so mad about dude's opinion about a movie? And it's like, yeah, no shit, it's just a movie. Same way you can say, like, it's just a video game, or like, oh, it's just like a TV show. But at the same time, like, when people create things for a reason. People don't just create things for no reason. People have objective goals when they create anything in media or art or anything of that nature. It's so odd, especially with the message that Obsession is trying to push, to make a video not only defending a guy who just assaults a girl throughout the entire film.
Look, everybody is not going into a movie trying to think about the message, just trying to push. Some people want to just go into a movie and have fun, turn their fucking brains off, enjoy the visuals, enjoy the action, enjoy the concept, enjoy thinking of the possibilities. Well, damn, what would happen if I was faced with this situation? What would I do? Like, or how would I handle these things? So everybody doesn't want to go into the fucking movie taking mental notes for the dissertation that they're going to do afterwards. No, nobody's doing that, bro. Everybody's not like that. Again, these are the guys who take the fun out of everything. Some things are just meant to be fun and enjoyed, and not have all of this added pressure, expectations of how you should speak and handle yourself with just enjoying something you like.
But also, going these whole tangents about, women online are just tripping, or they're making him sound like he's way worse than what he actually is. Like what type of reception did you think you were gonna get when you made this video? Now, Alex would end up taking the obsession video down, and he would end up posting an apology video, which that.
And I didn't see this, but he said, unfortunately, some of you are doing the very thing I talked about in this video. You are only seeing and hearing what you want out of my video instead of actually listening to what I'm saying. As I say multiple times in the video, Bear is bad. He does bad things. He is a villain. My video was in reaction to people saying that he is some kind of evil incel from the beginning. I wanted to look at how he goes from just a normal dude into the villain. I say in the video that after he realizes the wish work, he goes on to be the bad guy and gets worse and worse. I didn't feel the need to show every single instance of him being bad, like the post-diner scene, because they're all covered by the statement itself. I literally say that that he is bad multiple times. I'm not defending Bear in the video. I tried to make it clear that I'm not defending him, but some of you are literally only hearing what you want to hear and not hearing the actual words I say in the video. I wanted to look at how he goes from normal, kind of depressed loser guy into the villain, and not that he's the villain from the beginning. And that's basically
also
how
didn't
I got
go over well, but
without
I
him
can't
even
find a
having to say this.
re-uploaded version of the movie.
I
Him
just read
saying
that
that
for
he
you
wanted
guys.
to show that Bear wasn't this evil incel from the very beginning. Bear makes the wish within the first 6 to 8 minutes of the movie. Like the entire rest of the movie.
So what? He makes a fucking wish. That's the bitch will love him. So the fuck what? So
is
what?
Bear, doing the things with the wish. So I don't know like what part he wanted to show that Bear wasn't this evil guy. But something else that I forgot to mention is that when Nikki starts acting strange, like from the very beginning, the first thing that Bear does is look at the One Wish Willow. Also him being like, I didn't want to defend Bear. I said that he was bad multiple times. Brother, you defended him so much. You defended him so much to the point where you went on an entire tangent against women saying, oh, y'all are complaining about Bear, but y'all don't complain about this film or that film or that film. Like, what do you mean you didn't want to defend him? That's all you did throughout the entire.
I think he's comparing to how much this film was psychoanalyzed and picked apart because of how it's presented. In a lot of these, the material that he presented, it was a female doing these things and wishing these things, and there was no real big reaction to it, is what he's saying. However, with it being a male this time, it's this big, oh, let's really dive in, and I think this is really something that the females are gravitating towards, because this is a horror film for a female. This is a horror film for. Imagine a guy that you don't really like just taking control of your mind. I mean, we can look back at shows like Jessica Jones. Think about Jessica Jones and the Purple Man, and how she was under his control and had to do everything that he said. You look at it from that. It's a horror movie for women. So that's not to dismiss that, but at the same time, they're making this conversation a little bit more rabid than it has to be. Okay, we get it. You guys think this guy is a terrible man. You got simps like this guy who's gonna say, "Oh yeah, you're right. We get it. Okay, but yeah, he's just as disingenuous as the person he's trying to make Alex out to be. And at the end of the day, Alex went into that video obviously knowing full well what would come behind it. He said what he said, and I think he's willing to stand on it. Okay, I think that's where I'm going to leave this. That's where I'm going to leave this one, because these guys, they don't really have too much to say. Their panties are in a bunch about really. I mean, I get it from their standpoint. If you really want to be one, if this movie affects you in one of the very few ways it would affect you. I guess if you are a woman who's faced some type of abuse similar to this, or if you're a woman who's, you know, in the past lost your autonomy or your free will, and you feel like you have been, it probably speaks to a very particular set of women. And, you know, if they feel offended by such a thing, okay, I guess. But for the rest of you niggas like this, you're a man. You're a grown-ass man. A lot of you niggas be over here making y'all grown-ass men. Leave this shit to the women. Because you sound like a bitch. And I'm just being honest. You look like a bitch too, but you sound like a bitch. So let's really, you know, let's get it together, brother. Let's really get it together, all right? That's all I got for you guys today. This is just a very long episode of Doja Thoughts, but I figured, why not? Everybody's getting their Alex Meyers / obsession takes off. Why not we do the same, okay? So if you watched this far into the video, I would like you to hit this video with a like, hit us with a comment, and go ahead and subscribe. And if you're watching this on mobile, go ahead and hit us with a hype. We would greatly appreciate that. I'll be delivering more content here to the Doja Room. I'm your boy, Dope Boy Diesel. And yeah, I'll be back next time there's some shit to talk about, which might be very soon. Until next time, I'll see you guys.